In the 90s, turning 100,000 into 1 million euros was easier than today. But it turns out only 1 from 10 people who risked it stayed alive. Let's go back in time. During the Soviet Union, when it collapsed, that was the beginning for many hungry businessmen because there was unpredictable environment, there were no strict rules, and there was an old banking system. Back then, starting a business was completely a different game. There were no social media, no online marketplaces, no viral marketing. If you wanted customers, you had to put in the physical work. Print ads, cold calling, knocking on doors, meeting potential partners in person. Deals were made over whiskey and handshakes, and contracts were often sealed with nothing more than trust. And even though it was unpredictable, for many it was the golden era of opportunity. In the 90s, one of the most popular business models was to buy and sell stuff. But there was a catch. The 90s were also risky. Corruption was everywhere. If you made too much money, the wrong people noticed it. There was a lot of crime and entrepreneurs had to pay for protection. And some businessmen also lost everything just like that because of some bad deal, scams, or some physical accidents or threats. Let's fast forward to right now. We have access to global markets, endless resources available due to the internet, and the ability to launch a business just with a simple laptop from anywhere in the world. But is it actually easier to make millions today than it was back then? Let's break it down. First, let's take a quick look at someone who built a business from scratch in the 90s. He is a Latvian businessman named Andris, and he has actually been in this studio where we had the first conversation about a year ago. He wasn't a gangster, he wasn't a politician, just a simple guy trying to make money in a world with no rules. And what was his business? The business was simple. He was importing trailers full of honey from Tajikistan and selling them here in Latvia. Buy cheap, sell high. Except nothing was ever that easy, okay? So Andris receives a phone call. He's told the honey is ready for pickup, so he sends a friend who is the prosecutor's son to get it. But when he arrives, something is a bit off. The Tajikistans are saying, hey, the honey is not yet here, but they want the money first. The friend refuses, saying, no honey, no money. Therefore, this deal was cancelled, and luckily all of them stayed alive. That was just the first problem. When business expanded, they ordered a full train carried with honey, 60 tons of it. Everybody would notice such amount because it looked impressive, and they did notice it. At the Russian border, a hungry officer asked for a bribe to let them continue and get the product inside of Latvia.
So the officer said, you have to pay it. If not only I'm going to stop it, I'll break the cans.
At this moment, the businessman Andris decided not to pay, even though that he lost the honey because of it. So the businessman Andris refused. And what happened? Yes, the Russian policeman did break some cans, but not everything, and it still got into Latvia. And of course, back then there was huge markup and you could actually make a lot of profit from these kind of trades. So it was really good and profitable, even though some of the product got damaged or used or not being able to be sold afterward. He wouldn't be just able to buy a bunch of computers and sell them at a massive markup. Because of the market, it is saturated, more competitive right now, it's global, and profit margins are not as they were back then on specific different products. But on the other hand, today's environment has so many tools, so much different things which we can use, like digital advertising, e-commerce, and ability to reach customers worldwide with just one click. You don't need a warehouse full of product to start a business anymore. People make millions just selling digital goods, digital products, courses, or their drop shipping products, or creating software without even touching something physically. There's opportunities, but it requires different skills like branding, marketing, building an online presence. And one of the key benefits of having a well-defined business or digital presence is that it allows you to have a business that goes 24/7, 365, unlike traditional marketing methods. Let's talk about funding for businesses back then and right now. Post-Soviet countries experienced high inflation rates in transition periods, and the banking sector were still developing, with limited competition amongst banks. Therefore, it directly translated to higher interest rates for business loans. They were relatively high, often ranging from 8 to 10%. Today, things are different. Crowdfunding, angel investors, startup accelerators, venture funds. For example, in Lithuania, as of November 2024, the bank lending rate was reported to be 5.6% per year. Also, you can raise money from strangers online. That's like crowdfunding. And that is something completely unheard of in the 90s. However, competition is much more. Getting funding is easier, but investors expect different kinds of results. They expect more than it was back then. Now let's get back to the story of the 90s Eastern Europe businessman Andris, which we talked about, the honey thing. One of his biggest challenge was to get physically cash, but luckily he had friends in Russia, so it worked like this. He transferred money out of the Russian Federation, and like in the movies, he flew there to get it. Obviously, at this scale, people literally started following him, so the road to the airport wasn't easy. Therefore, his colleagues even had to jump over fence and bribe the security to let them through. After such crazy missions, Andris gets a call from his main transaction partner, Russian banker Alexei.
Andrei, do you need money now? Well, I need some, like 200,000, 300,000. You're funny. You understand. I have to go to the bank. I have to make transfer. Take $1 million.
Here's an interesting problem where we don't think about it now, but in the 90s, there was really big problems with security and dangerous situations because the gangsters worked even at the police. Therefore, a new type of fake friends showed up. They were called Roof, and for $200 a month, they say they will defend you, but it turns out they just take your money, and if you act tough, they might even kill you. So basically, they were scamming people, saying, hey, I will protect you, take the money, and never even help you. And they actually threaten you by accusing them of not getting the help. And the thing that people don't realize is that gangsters were also giving money to businessmen, and they were giving money with terms or in conditions like 1% a day. And this is actually a story from Andris. He was saying that people were offering money and asking 1% compounding per day on the money that people took. And the last topic we want to cover is exporting and get your products across borders to different continents. How has that changed? Back then, it was super difficult, but now it's like you have tracking your packages across oceans. You can have global shipping networks. It's super efficient. You can like see every step what is happening with the products, and you have ton of data so you can analyze, see where the package is, so you can tell your customers when they can expect it. You can actually do easily returns, and the customs are much more easily available than it was back then. So there you have it. In the 90s, it was the Wild West out there. You could make a fortune, but the risks were real too. Today, things are safer, but competition is much more. Every idea seems to have been done before. But don't let that discourage you. With the right mindset, you can still build businesses that are successful. And right now, more millionaires are being created than back then. The question is, would you rather take a high risk, high reward shot in an unregulated market, or grind through the slow, structured process of building business in today's world? But the opportunities are much wider now than back then, in my opinion. Thanks for watching, and remember, even in the most competitive markets, there's always room for innovation and unique ideas. Subscribe for more business videos, and I see you in the next one.